What is up, everyone? I am joejdh. I'm host of Beyond the Woodline. Real quick before we get started, I'm sharing this out. For you guys who don't know, I am the executive director for the JRG, which is the Jevning Research Group, headed up and founded by Mr. William Jevning. Great guy. He's got like 50 years of experience in the world of Bigfoot. He was friends with Renee DeHenden and John Green, who were considered the pioneers in Bigfoot research. Uh, and we've got teams all over the country. We've got teams in California, Oregon, Minnesota, Florida, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Ohio, Michigan, New York State, Maine, of course, here in Texas, where I'm at. I think Louisiana too. Um, and really, we got teams in Malaysia and a team in Australia too. So, if you guys are interested in going out and looking for this creature we call Bigfoot, hit me up beyond.woodline@gmail.com. We'll get you guys started. Even if there's a team in your state, you want to start your own team, go ahead. If there's no one in your state, we definitely know people all over the place. We network with a bunch of people, so we can set you up with somebody. But we always vet you and whoever we set you up with, because unfortunately, there are some crazy people in this world. So we want to make sure everyone is safe. Also, um, if you guys get a chance, go to Beyond the Woodline podcast page or Beyond the Woodline fan page and join one of those pages for me. And there we can share information and share data and just share experiences and share your teams and what you got going on. That's I'm really big on sharing and the community coming together. There's a lot of drama, and I stay away from that stuff. So I just try to make sure everyone's friendly and nice, and we're all get along like a big happy family, the way we're supposed to. And then also, my last little announcement: if you guys get a chance, go to Steffi's Creation on Etsy. She makes REM pods. She also has like a spirit box kit you can buy and put together your own little spirit box. And if you use discount code Woodline, you get a 15% discount. I don't get any kickback. She doesn't sponsor me. She doesn't pay me. Nothing like that. She's just a great person. And then go check out Layered Legends. He makes 3D printed crafts. And again, he doesn't sponsor me. I don't get any kickbacks. He's just one of my best friends and a really really good guy and a pretty popular guy in the Bigfoot field too. So go check out Layered Legends. So, like always, I know you guys don't tune in to hear me ramble. I have with me tonight Broken Wings Paranormal. And Susie, since I contacted you, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you started into this crazy world that we're involved in.
Well, thank you, Joe. I'm Susie. I am with Broken Wings Paranormal. I've been in the group for 3 years. Um, Paranormal growing up, I think a lot of people who are interested in the paranormal are similar like me, where we have experiences when we're younger, or we grow up in a haunted house. That's my gist. I've always seen and felt things. I had a very, very traumatic life growing up. And I felt like most of my experiences occurred when I was at a really, really dark, low point in my life. So I was always afraid of the paranormal because every experience that I had in my life was all negative when I was in a really dark, negative place. And so as I got older, I started to combat that fear, to face the fear. I didn't want to live in fear. I didn't want to be afraid anymore. So by finding the team and investigating, it's opened up my eyes and it's allowed me the opportunity to know that there are more nice spirits, like more normal spirits. It's like what I tell people is if I go to the grocery store, you're going to encounter like 90% of nice people and only about 10% of, not so nice people. And so that's kind of how I view the paranormal world. It's around you all of the time. And so by removing a lot of that fear, it's allowed me the opportunity to open up my eyes and expand my horizon.
Cool, man. Yeah, and I use that expression all the time, expanding my horizon. That's kind of where I got the name Beyond the Woodline, coming from a Bigfoot researcher and creating this podcast that there's more out there than what beyond the woodline, right? So, and I use that expression all the time, expand my horizons. That's part of why I do this, not just to have guests on, but to also learn from my guests and try to uh, use that when I do my stuff.
Yeah, because if we don't ask questions, who's going to?
But yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I always try to hopefully when someone's listening and someone's watching that they're learning, as they go along too, and they can learn from you guys' experiences. Yeah. So, Mr. Brett, tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you started into the paranormal.
I am the same. I have had experiences ever since I was a wee lad. All the way through my life, I've always seen and felt and heard and the whole bit. And when Susie was talking, I had to sit back and do math because I didn't realize that we kind of got on the team about the same time. I didn't realize it's been 3 years. It seems like it's gone by so fast.
So
Um,
fast.
it's so fast. Um, so anyway, I've had all these experiences. I've enjoyed history of buildings and locations and stuff like that. So I've always have enjoyed that, urban exploring and all that. I have been with a couple teams in the past, and then kind of got out of it for a while, and then I went on a kind of a public event with Broken Wings that they had. And ever since that investigation, they kind of snatched me up and brought me along for the ride, and that's kind of where I'm at today.
Cool, man. Cool. Steve and Chelsea, tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you guys started.
I probably was around maybe like the third to join. We had a couple original people in it, and then Steve scouted them. Um, and Steve is my father here, and my mom also joined. So we kind of all joined about the same time, but he scouted them for a little while. And then once I moved back home, I kind of joined and started going a lot more. I also had a lot of experiences when I was a kid. I think I blocked out a lot of them. Um, I'd say the one I remember the most is this creepy figure sitting on the top of my bunk bed, and I saw it in a mirror. And when I thought I was, seeing stuff, it's the middle of the night. I'm like 13 years old, and it leaned forward, and my bed creaked. And that was the
Oh,
craziest thing that I can remember from my childhood. I think I blocked out a lot of it. We actually did an investigation a couple years back at that house. It was a family home that we were selling. There was some
okay.
creepy stuff there,
Yeah.
but grew up in a haunted house as well. So we joined about the same time, and what's it, 3 years now?
About 3.5 years.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Cool. Steve, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, technically, same thing. Since I'm the oldest, I figured I'd go last. Since my wife's not in here, I can say I'm the oldest on this podcast.
She is. She's just hiding.
She's hiding. Um, yeah, I've had experiences since I was a kid too, and when I was a teenager, I used to go and investigate cemeteries for fun. Um, After my teenage years, I got involved with a group in Florida, Central Florida Paranormal, who no longer exists. Actually, we lost the founding father of Central Florida Paranormal to COVID in 2020 or 2021. And unfortunately, all the content went with him. Um, but I've been investigating for a long time, and then I got out of it for a while and got back into it. Um, then before I met my wife, I wasn't dating when I met my wife. Moved to Utah, didn't know anybody here, and then I just happened upon Rob, who founded Broken Wings Paranormal. He doesn't investigate anymore, so we've kind of just kept the name alive, and he's still around, but he just doesn't investigate. So there's only two of the original members left. Everybody else is people we've picked up along the way. But yeah, I've had experiences forever. My first investigation ever was the old St. Augustine prison in Florida, which is the oldest prison in the United States. That was my first, and then when I lived in Florida, I investigated places in Louisiana, you know, Rue Bourbon, those type of areas, the French Quarter, where you know that's like witches' den hangout kind
Right.
of
Yeah.
thing. So I had the pleasure of investigating many places in New Orleans and Florida. Investigated other places, but that list would go on and on. But once I got to Utah and we had got this group together, we've just been investigating pretty much nonstop for the last 3.5 years. up to the point to where we probably spend every other weekend investigating, if not more. Busiest group in Utah. Nobody even comes close to investigating as much as we do here, and we're starting to spread our wings. We're now investigating in places in Nevada. 2 weeks from now we'll be in Montana, but we are gonna work our way out and try to get the group back east and things like that. So it's been a great time, and our group is really close. We're more like family. We bicker like family. We're a really solid group, and we don't lose members because they have a tendency to stick around.
Cool, man. Yeah, and I like that. I've got a group too with my Woodline Paranormal, and yeah, man, we're really tight. We're really close, and we're like family. But yeah. So real quick, my mom's saying hello, everyone. Tell my mom hi, please.
Hi, Mama.
Hi, Jenny.
Hello.
And then there's Mr. Adam
Hi.
and Miss Sandra. Sandra's like man, one of my OG listeners, viewers. She's been around forever with me, so I hope you're doing better, Sandra. So yeah, so like, what's one of the first vacations? I don't know, vacations, investigations you guys did together? Well, y'all four. I'm saying three, 'cause I see three squares, but y'all, all four of you guys. Looks like one of the first ones you guys did together.
Well,
Was it the cemetery?
Susie's first was the cemetery.
Oh,
Yeah,
Mosquito Festival.
it was a mosquito festival. This is like my first official paranormal investigation. I've been around town where they do the tours. You get in the bus and they take you around. As far as first paranormal investigation, when we did the cemetery, it was incredible because I was drawn to a specific grave. It's like, we should do, the spirit portal here. And there was a song on his grave. We started to play it, and we had to cut out the bulk of that because of copyright on YouTube. I
Okay.
really wish we could have shared it with the world because it was beautiful. It was like him coming through, and it was singing. Like the portal was pulling the music.
Hi, Anthony. Yeah, it's an Ozzy Osbourne song.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, what song was it? Do you remember?
I think it was. Is it No More Tears?
Possibly.
I think it was Ozzy Osbourne's "No More Tears," and the words to the actual song are inscribed on his
Oh,
headstone.
nice.
So we decided to play it, and like she said, the majority, I just kind of chopped it up so we could leave portions in, a couple seconds at a time. So as we were playing the song, the responses that were coming through the spirit portal were relevant to what we were asking. And anybody in the paranormal knows that anything like that's hit or miss, spirit boxes, anything like that. But the amount of responses that we were getting that were relevant was probably the best I've ever had in a cemetery, to be honest, because don't always get a whole ton in cemeteries, because I think it's more of a resting place with less spirits lingering around than people think. But in that instance, and he recently died. I think it was only a few years after he died, where that we were, reaching out to him, and that was the best stuff that we got at that cemetery. Is really amazing.
Yeah, that's cool. Real quick, this is Anthony Ceballos here in San Antonio, Texas. Great guy, Wraith Hunter. Go check him out. You'll love him. He's an
Cool.
excellent investigator too. Mr. Drew Banky, what's up, buddy? Another great guy. Excellent dude too, man. You guys go follow him. Yeah, people can sometimes. I've seen like people criticize like, "Hey, don't go to cemeteries. You shouldn't be doing that, right?" And I've done it a couple of times, and I don't see anything wrong with it because if the spirit's not there, then they're not there, right? But if they're there, and especially if it's an older cemetery and the spirits are there and they might want visitors, and they might not have anyone to go visit necessarily. So, me personally, I don't see anything wrong with going to a cemetery. Like I said, if there's a spirit there and if they want to communicate, you're not twisting their arm, right, to make them communicate. I don't see anything wrong with it. What are your guys' views on investigating cemeteries?
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, we've done a handful. I don't see any problem with it. You try to be respectful.
Yeah.
We're respectful of the dead. It doesn't matter where we're at, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So, I mean, if spirits are lingering in a cemetery, it's no different than them lingering around in a building. I mean, every place we go, or even sitting here in this house. But like Susie said earlier, you're surrounded by spirits, in our opinion, right? Whether or not you can see them, feel them, whether or not they're making themselves known, that's all up to them. And that leads into, hi James,
My uncle.
but yeah, there's definitely we have nothing against that. I mean, there's groups out there that are dedicated specifically to cemeteries, which cemeteries are free, so that's typically not a problem. At least for us, it's a very expensive hobby, and I'm sure you know that as well.
Oh, yeah.
And in the number of different places that we've been in Utah, not cemeteries are some of the ones that we just do. If we couldn't get anything booked that weekend, a cemetery is always a good place to go. And there's lots of great cemeteries here in Utah. Merker Cemetery, the cemetery, it's Green, can't remember the exact, Green something cemetery where we picked her up. Bingham City Cemetery. It's a cemetery not far from my house, actually, where an entire city disappeared into the ground pretty much overnight. The whole town just collapsed into the ground, and they have the cemetery and a memorial there for those people. But for us, the main thing is definitely locations, which we do locations that have been done before, and we've done a bunch that haven't been done before. And like Brett, we picked him up. His first investigation with the team was at McGrew Studios, which Ghost Adventures actually did. Oh, can I say Ghost Adventures? Those people,
You're fine.
They investigated there, and I take most of what's on TV, and it's not Zach and company. It's anybody in general on TV with a grain of salt, because a lot of groups do this for entertainment. We don't. For us, there's nothing entertaining about what could possibly be going on. So, Brett, I'm going to let you explain what's at McGrew Studios.
So yeah, McGrew Studios was my first one. So I was very shy, around the team, and just didn't know my place. And I was like, I'm just gonna hang out and just kind of see what happened. And it was really neat. There's this second level that you go up to, and there's this light. And for a lot of the night, it was almost acting like a pendulum, like swinging in different directions. We'd stop it, and you can watch the video and see it, but we'd stop it, and then all of a sudden it would just start going again. And we're checking for airflow, we're trying to debunk it, we're trying all sorts of stuff, and it was wild to have. And then in the basement, we had a wild SE session. I can't remember if it was Steve that was doing it or if it was Rob that was doing it. It was you.
In the corner.
The Phantom.
The Phantom. It was wild, the responses, and it was very we would ask the question and we were getting direct responses right back to the SE session. It was pretty wild.
Yeah, I was going to ask you guys that too. When you talked about the spirit box, and we may as well talk about the Estes method too. What are some of the crazy responses you guys have gotten?
There's so many.
Yeah.
I think one of the main ones that came to mind is, where were we? That was when we got the word flash, when Erica was taking a picture. And there's just some things through the Estes session that it's questionable, because you don't know what types of questions everybody else is asking.
Mm-hmm.
And so when something comes through, it's like, well, why would I get a response saying that? That's how I felt in that moment when I got the word flash through. And it was crazy doing playback because she was just sitting there taking a picture with her flash.
That was at the Layton Museum.
Yeah.
That was at the Layton Museum.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that was super relevant, and that one was cool. That was my favorite one so far.
I was here in Jacksonville, Texas. I went on an investigation, and we were getting responses on the spirit box, but we were doing the Estes method too, right? And somebody asked, one of the members asked, who are you? Are you one of the kids? And they kept saying 8, and I was like, oh, what the hell does that mean? So the history of the house is downstairs in this book. So I'm flipping through the book, and they had 8 kids. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty cool. The people that it was called the Bolton House, and people who owned it were the Bolton. They had 8 kids. So I thought that was pretty cool.
One of our best SD sessions, I think, would have been probably at the Idaho State Penitentiary, when I was sitting in
Cell block.
the cell.
Something Snowden.
Yeah, Raymond Snowden's cell at the
Okay.
Idaho Penitentiary. It was basically a back and forth conversation. Brett pretty much asked. I think he asked all the questions, honestly, and at least from what was left, and the number of responses that we got from that video
Nice.
was just nuts. And I mean, we there. It's really hit or miss with SD session, because it is a spirit box. That's all it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a different. You don't hear the questions. That's really the only difference. Because we're using an SB7 Pro with noise canceling headphones and a blindfold. That's what we're using. That's what most people are using. The second best one I would probably say was at the Helper State Bank.
Which time?
Yeah, I'm like, which one?
Oh, I didn't that one.
Yeah, Brett
The
again.
first time.
Yeah, the first time. Brett, unfortunately, Brett usually is the best at getting the responses out of an Estes.
So-
he asks the questions.
So yeah, and that was one of them. And the other one that I would also say was the Ritz Theater bathroom on the second time.
Oh, yes, the second time.
So a lot of the times when I get involved, it's almost like I'm having a direct conversation, and the responses are very relevant, back and forth, and they can get pretty intense.
Yeah.
So you're talking about getting intense. Have you guys ever been scared, like legit scared, not like unnerved or kind of freaked out? Have you
Yeah,
guys ever done-
we have a new video that Steve's working on releasing momentarily, and that one ran us out of the building pretty much. Like, if we do not leave, people are going to get hurt.
Okay.
Oh,
So
no, that's the mine. That's already out.
Mhm.
You guys want to talk about that then, or
That was in the big church, Susie.
Okay, there's
Right.
only ever been two places technically that our group. I've been 4 places. Well, let's say 3. So I'll go in order. So the first place that we felt like we needed to leave was a place called the Kiva Club, and it's in Helper, Utah,
It's flooded right now.
which is technically flooded right now, unfortunately. So we wouldn't be able to go there if we wanted to. But the Kiva Club in Helper, the entire night we had rocks thrown at us. It was nothing but nasty responses.
Like a mimic.
Yeah, there was a mimic where we would ask a question on the EVP and we would get the question answered. We would get an answer of the question repeated back to us.
And it sounded like it was in our own voice. Like, whoever's voice it was, it sounded like that on playback. Like,
Yeah,
it was mimicking and
definitely.
asking that question.
Yeah, so there is a mimic there. And I'll get into our technically our third visit there. But so the Kiva Club, when we were done at the end of the night, we always do an intro and an outro for the video. So at about 2:30 in the morning, we're doing our outro. We're all standing against the wall, and more rocks are thrown at us. During our EVP session, we heard something run across the floor after us, and Brett heard it with his ears. And we got a response on our EVP session that said, "Get the fuck out right now." Almost as clear as I just said it.
Wow.
That's the kind of stuff that's at the Kiva Club. Our second visit there, during our EVP session, we had a very clear response that said, "I'm a demon." Now, I don't buy it, right?
Yeah.
I'm not one of those demon believers that think there's negative entities everywhere. That's definitely not the case, because as Susie said, and it's more than 90%, probably 99% of spirits are good. The bad ones aren't necessarily demons. I'm sure there's a few, there's a handful out there, obviously, but, I'm not one of those tagline guys that are going to say, "Oh, well, it said it's a demon, so it is," right?
Right.
I don't buy that.
Clickbait.
Yeah, we don't do
Yeah.
So the second,
I'll use that.
yeah, the second place we didn't leave, but we probably should have, would have been our second visit to the Washoe Club, and this was recently, and that's in Virginia City, Nevada. I was literally slammed against a wall by something that was caught on camera. And, people can say what they want to about light anomalies, but you see a light anomaly shoot through the wall in the video. And at that very instant, I was slammed against the wall as I was walking forward
In the hallway.
So where did it hit you in the back, push you in the back, or what was that?
It slammed me from the side like a linebacker just tackled me against the wall.
Yeah, so for a visual perspective, Steve's walking down the hallway. And so there's to his left, there's a wall. And behind that wall is a bedroom. We have a camera in that bedroom. And so on this camera, you see a light anomaly pop up and shoot across. And then right as soon as that happens, when it goes through the wall, Steve gets knocked.
Oh, wow.
I wasn't standing still. I mean, you can tell in the video, I'm physically moving forward. Like I'm walking. There's no way for me to walk forward and get knocked to my right at the same time. It's physically impossible to do that yourself.
Something was following.
And yes, and
something was following. Yep.
Something was following me. It was actually captured that something crossed by the music box immediately after I passed by it.
And what's the history of this place? Do you guys know
it? It was a brothel, basically.
Okay.
The Millionaires Club. It's famous because GAC have been there. But our understanding was, and this is unconfirmed, is that according to one of the tour guides, a few months before we were there, somebody did blood magic in the building.
Oh, okay.
And ever since then, some of the tour guides are even being negatively affected in the building. Again, unconfirmed. I don't know what stories they might tell people. There's no way for us to confirm it, obviously. So that's the story.
It was interesting how different the activity was from the first time we went versus the second time. Like, we knew there was something not so nice there. Like, okay, we got to be a little cautious the first time because we can feel there's something darker, not as friendly. But the second time we went, it was like instant. It was bad all around the whole time. And
Two
so
of us got physically ill as well. Chelsea got physically ill, and Erica got physically ill.
Erica got it worse than I did. I was able to.
So what happened to you, Chelsea?
I was doing a kind of a one-on-one session with the spirits, and my headphones died, and it threw me off. So I didn't ground myself properly either. After doing a session with them, and I got really sick to my stomach. Luckily, I wasn't actually ill, but for the rest of the night, I was pretty nauseous the entire night. Erica, on the other hand, she was very nauseous and kind of ended up sick, and we had to take her home really early the next morning because she was so ill, and she had a temperature, and she was like the shakes. She's like, I feel like I'm dying because she got affected so badly, and she still comes with us since then.
Yeah.
That did scare her off, but yeah, we both got really sick, and luckily I grounded myself and I was able to block it off a little more, so it wasn't so bad.
Which
Erica missed the second investigation because we had the Nevada State Prison booked the next day, and unfortunately, since she had to go home, she missed that. Go ahead, Susie. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to see if either Chelsea or Brett wanted to tell everybody what a one-on-one is, because this is like our own experiment. Our team, we're the first ones ever to do this. Okay. And so I feel like Brett should, since he's the original creator.
So a one-on-one, basically, it's like an SD session sort of thing where you have noise canceling earphones and you have a blindfold on, but you don't use a radio that's cycling through channels. What we do, or what I do, and I think Chelsea is similar, is I usually have some sort of music just kind of playing to the point to where I can't hear anything outside my environment. So I'm completely in my own environment. I can't hear the people talking around me. I can't see anything. I'm completely shut out. And with that, the best way to describe it without going into a whole lot of detail is I just basically go into a meditative state, try to pick up on the stuff that's happening around me, and then kind of go from there and talk back on the things that I am feeling, seeing, hearing, all that back to the team. And then they can do whatever they want with the information. Sometimes they ask questions. Sometimes they go check out areas I'm talking about there might be a presence at. Different sorts of things. So that's kind of what a one-on-one is. We have introduced what we call a tripwire. I'm not sure if you guys have seen those tripwires, but it's a series of lights that react to EMF, and we put those around us just to see if there's anything that crosses through that barrier while we're doing our one-on-one. That's basically the point of them. So if anyone's watched our videos, it's not a seance type thing that we're doing. We're just doing it to see what's crossing back and forth between that barrier.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
That sounds pretty
basically,
interesting.
sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm just saying that that sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, and it is, and it sometimes they're short and sometimes they're long. But like for example, the last one that we just did in the Dumas brothel in Butte, Montana. They both, now Chelsea does the same thing. She does her one-on-one. We split them up across different hours this time. So Chelsea started the night with a one-on-one, and we had Brett do his later. Now, they never tour the building. They don't know anything about the location when we get there because they're mediums. We don't want them to know anything, right?
They stand outside.
So they stand outside last time in the rain.
Yeah.
And that was on their, they made a good joke about it, but they both had vehicles outside, so they could have. So they always stay outside for all of any tours or any information like that.
Okay.
They were able to validate so much of the information that was given to us by David, the owner at the brothel. And the funny thing about it is not only did they get the same thing, again, 2 different times, neither one of them had been in the building. They both got some very similar things, which doesn't happen as frequently as you might think. But when you're at a place like the Dumas brothel, where God only knows how many people have been unalived there, and how many people were injured, or
atrocities that took place there.
Yeah, there's no history. They have no information.
And that's because this brothel ran illegally for 65 years.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So for 65 years, that's history that nobody knows anything about.
Yeah.
So just imagine the types of things that went on while it was being illegally run for 65 years.
Okay.
Yeah. It's pretty rough. But it's interesting how sometimes they will get something completely different, or they'll both look over to their left and say, I see something over there. Like if we're going to have them do it at the same time, they'll look over and see something at the same time. It happens very frequently. And again, they can't hear each other. They can't hear us, nothing like that. So, it's interesting when we have things like that happen, and it's worth watching and keeping an open mind about, because they're actually seeing and speaking to what they're seeing at that moment in time. Not just, us asking questions, which typically, even though we're asking questions, it's rare that we get an answer, because the spirits are directly talking to them. And that's kind of why we call it a one-on-one, because they are interfacing one-on-one, just like I'm talking to you right now. It's just a generic name, but that's what we called it.
Okay. Yeah, but that makes sense. Real quick, Adam here, he says, have y'all ever seen a shadow? Okay, cool.
All the time.
Okay, well, talk to us a little bit about that, Susie. Whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah, Jacob City.
Okay.
Yep.
I have never been more scared in my life to visit a place. Jacob City is a whole other world. All it is this tiny little cabin with 4 walls and a tiny attic space at the top in the middle of the mountains. It used to be a town. It was like a mining town. Everything got torn down. And this cabin isn't even part of the original city. It's just somebody's cabin that was up on the mountain that's abandoned. And so in order to get up there, you have to have an ATV, and you could only fit 2 people in Steve's ATV. So him and I went up there. We get there at night, and as we're setting up, we joke a lot. We have a lot of sarcasm. I mean, it's a great time when we get together. So as we were going, the music box, which is the device that has a sensor, a motion sensor, if something walks within, the radius of the sensor, it goes off, makes a little tune. And that went off, and I jokingly said, "Oh no, it's a ghost." Where we didn't know, on 2 cameras facing the opposite side of me, there is like an 8-foot tall shadow man that is caught walking outside of the cabin on 2 different cameras, just going across.
We joke and say it looks like Bigfoot because it's
Yeah.
pretty big and it's
It's
dark.
big. It's not like burly like you would expect a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch, or a Yeti, whatever. But it's big enough and prominent enough to where you can tell, like you can see the shoulders, you can see the outline of the head, and the transparency of it is really interesting because on the cameras, you don't hear like footsteps, you don't hear leaves or twigs snapping. All you're seeing is just the shadow with transparency, right? You can see the trees, but then there's this one tree that it's not as transparent when it goes by it. So it's very intriguing.
Yeah.
We saw another shadow there, and Steve was doing an SD session, and I was asking questions. And there is a door directly behind Steve where he's sitting. Well, kind of. And when I asked the question, like I was asking questions and I heard something coming from that side, and it scared me. Steve leans forward on camera, and you can see an outline of a shadow figure peeking its head and like the upper torso out and just watching us. And then,
because it,
yep. And
yeah.
it's high, like
High
it's
up on the
high. And so to get into the cabin, I mean, it's a good step.
Yeah.
Right? You have to like lift up and go high. And so for that thing to be peeking into the doorway at that height, was it the same shadow figure? Was it the same thing? Because we didn't see that first shadow that went across until Steve reviewed the footage. All I did was hear a sound when this one popped out. But is it the same one? Are there multiple different types of entities or spirits that show themselves in that form there?
Possibility.
You know what's funny is that I was on a guy show last night. It was just a recording. He'll release it like I don't know, later on this week. But we actually talked about that. It was like, is there like one shadow person, one shadow man, whatever, or are there multiple of this entity? Yeah, it's pretty funny that you mentioned that. Which
Well,
I think there are probably multiple.
that we've seen when we were at the Montana State Prison last year, which we're going back in 2 weeks. Chelsea and I were all there, but we were sitting there, and all of a sudden I look up and I see a shadow in the back right corner of the room, or when I say room, of the hallway we're in the main cell block. So at the end of the hall of the cell block, I saw a shadow, and it's just standing there. And I mentioned it on camera, and about, I don't know, 15, 20 seconds later, she saw it.
Oh, shit.
And we both at the same time said we saw it moving its hands like this, like it was trying to wave us down or something. We both saw that and said it on camera pretty much at the same time that we saw it waving its arms, so to speak. And then it just disappeared. It was just gone. And then later, on the opposite side of the hallway, we captured a shadow figure on camera peek around the corner into the cell block. And we also at that same time captured what we think is a guard that was standing there. In literally 3 frames of video, I saw it. And I paused the video and I went and got historical photos of the guards from the prison, and you can even see the eyes, the nose, and even the necktie. It looks almost identical to the pictures from historical photos.
That's pretty wild. Yeah. That's one of the reasons why I like paranormal stuff like this, or when you see an apparition, a ghost figure, whatever, and then you can kind of look at pictures and say, oh, this is the dude, or this is the girl, or whatever. I like when people do that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Our best apparition is at the John M. Browning Mansion.
Yes.
Are you talking about the figures?
No, well, not
like
that's good, but we caught 2 apparitions that night at the John M. Browning Mansion. One you can see sinks into the ground, it sinks through the floor, and the other one you see a white figure move across the wall in the kitchen.
When I say come in.
Yeah, when she says come in downstairs, we're in the basement, and she said something. No, Susie said. Susie said something is coming, and soon as
Through
she
the Estes session.
during the
Oh,
she
okay.
said something is coming, and then we
Huh.
capture a white figure move across the wall in the kitchen. Now, keep in mind, we use anywhere from, depending on the size of the building, we set up anywhere from, say, 4 still cameras up to 16. We had 19 cameras the last time we did the Montana
geez.
State Prison. We had 19 still cameras.
No corner goes
Yeah, no
completely dark.
Oh, dang. That's pretty
So
good.
we don't joke around, and people would
Yeah.
say, "How do you catch so much stuff?" It's literally the number of cameras.
Yeah.
And it's hours and hours and hours. I figure most of our investigations average about 1.2 terabytes of data or video to go through each time.
Yeah. And have you gone through everything?
We go through every single bit.
Dude, I've got audio from like doing my Bigfoot stuff. I've got so many SD cards that I'll probably never go through them because I just don't have the time to do it.
The only thing we go through live is EVPs, and that we always
Yeah.
do. When I say live, meaning on the spot replay, because I don't want anybody to ever think we add anything into our audio after the fact.
Right.
So we always make sure we do our EVP playback while we're investigating, so it's right on camera when it happens. You know, that way nobody's saying, "Oh, well, you could have added that." No, I couldn't have because you heard it right there.
Yeah.
So that's one place where we differ probably from a lot of groups. Don't do that.
Yeah. We do that too. We do our EVPs right then and there.
Good.
Yeah. When we were at that place in Jacksonville, one of the girls that was doing her EVP, she got shushed. Yeah.
We've had
yeah.
that.
It was pretty cool. Yeah. So other than Steve, have any of you other guys ever been touched or poked or pushed?
Brett's nodding, Chelsea's nodding.
Yeah, go ahead, Brett.
Yeah. I mean, I can't remember off the top of my head, but there has been a couple that I have. I think there was actually one at the World Mining Company where I felt something like tug on my shirt, and I think I called it up, but I don't remember 100%. But yes, it does happen a lot. And sometimes you're like, did I catch on something, or you're looking around, because I'm all about debunking. I like debunking stuff, and so I'm always checking, like, where's that breeze coming from? Did I get caught on something? So that sort of thing. But yes, all the time I'm getting touched, pulled on. I think the girls probably get their hair pulled the most, from what I've noticed, because Chelsea's had it, Erica's had it a few times. I think Susie's had it. So yeah.
So you've had your hair pulled, Susie?
Yeah.
And Chelsea, yeah.
I don't remember.
You had your head.
Yeah. Yeah, and at the brothel, like I was just walking up the stairs, and all of a sudden it felt like something just tugged on my hair, like pulled my, and I'm like, what the heck? My hair was pulled over to the side. It was just sitting here like this, and like it's not like my hair was hanging back for it to get caught on something, like, and it was weird. It was so weird. And there was no camera on me, so it's like, oh, well, I guess we'll never know.
Yeah.
Wait, was that at the brothel?
Yeah, that was when I was walking up the first set of stairs to go up to the second floor.
So funny story. I think I told either Chelsea or Susie this. Yeah, I told Susie or Chelsea this. When I traversed those stairs the first time, I felt like I was going to be pushed down those stairs.
Really?
Yes. Like I had that feeling someone was going to push me, and it was just an anxiety feeling. It was like, this is not safe.
Which we did find out later on that somebody was pushed or fell down the stairs and was found dead at the bottom of them.
Oh, wow.
So that could have been a residual, maybe?
Possibly. This was when we toured the location the first time without any information. So Chelsea and I and others were walking through the building, just taking a look at the building. And Steve was talking to the owners and other people about what we were going to do that night and the details and stuff. And we were walking around. So I went up the stairs, And I was like, I don't feel safe on these stairs. And when I was coming back down, it felt like I was going to get pushed, like someone was behind me about to push me down those stairs.
Yeah.
You've had 2 hair incidents.
I've had a lot of things. I've had hair pulled. Had my headphones in doing a live listening with the little earbuds. It's been moved. I've been sat on, and it's funny with spirits because it's like the tingling sensation, like how you go, like an arm goes numb if you lay on it funny.
Right.
That's the best way to describe it for me. And I'm just sitting there. We were in the Ritz Theater, and I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, my entire front of my body is tingling. I'm like, oh, somebody just sat on me. That's and then I think once at Dented Brick Distillery, one of the spirits there, you get some interesting spirits, but he grabbed my butt, and it was weird. Again, it was that same tingling feeling.
And where was that at?
Dented Brick Distillery.
Okay.
We've been
That's
there.
interesting. Usually I hear about that kind of stuff like at prison or even brothels, you know.
Well, Kiva
Yeah.
Club, where the last place you had your hair flipped,
Mhm.
that was actually
It was
a brothel back in the day, and during
Okay.
Prohibition. You couldn't tell now because it's just an empty building with no rooms, just 2 big floors with nothing in them.
Yeah.
But back in the days of Prohibition, it was a brothel. And the last
Okay.
time we were there, her hair, you can see it on camera. It doesn't just fall, it's flipped over.
It
on
was
camera.
curly at the time, and yeah,
That
you
was
could
in
see
the
it
basement
flipped.
though, where it was a speakeasy.
Yeah, that's where the speakeasy was in the basement. Speakeasy, brothel, it's all basically the same
That's
thing.
all the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the last time. So yeah, she gets
when
it quite
we,
frequently.
No, when we were just at the mining.
Yeah.
Something brushed against
yeah.
my hair in the back, and I was like, what?
Yep, at the World Museum of Mining, that's the last place that we probably, there was a building there that Brett said it was time to leave, and we decided that we left that building. Didn't leave the location, but we did leave that particular building. Yep, that's true.
It reminds me of the time when my first experience of having, like, walking through a ghost. Was that the Midvale Museum?
I think so, yeah.
Where I had my tri-field meter or one of the other ones. And I wasn't looking at it, but I felt just whoof. Like my chest got super heavy. I got really nauseous, like I was going to pass out.
Mhm.
And then after we review the footage, you see my meter spike. I have those physical effects from it. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure, like, if that's what walking through a ghost feels like, I'm pretty sure that's what just happened.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. I've never walked through a ghost or a spirit. I've
Feels
kicked
like-
at a lady ghost standing next to my bed, but she disappeared before I made contact. Yeah.
That's funny, layered legends.
What do you say? What genes do ghosts wear? What genes?
Paranormal genes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my buddy Walter. He's all over the 3D stuff. Y'all need to go check him out.
That's kind of funny that somebody said that, though, because if you investigate the Nevada State Prison, you're not allowed to wear blue jeans.
Really?
Any other color but blue.
Any other color but blue, because there's still the real reason is because there's still an active prison right on the next to the old prison, and they use blue jeans as part of their normal everyday wear.
Okay.
The reason that they give you is because if you see an apparition and they're wearing blue jeans, you'll know that it's an apparition and not an investigator.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, or it could be somebody escaping. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to be mistaken for that.
No.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of funny. Somebody said something about jeans, and that's just something we laugh about with the Nevada State Prison. The first rule was no blue jeans. I went, well, what are we supposed to wear?
Yeah.
So what do you guys got coming up? What's next for you guys?
The Masonic Temple.
That's not till November, though.
Hey, but I'm so excited for that one, though.
That's huge. So
Where's that one at? The Masonic Temple.
Downtown Salt Lake City.
Okay.
Yep, it's the big temple, the real huge temple that like the big kahuna temple, not one of the little ones that you see like in towns. This is like the big one for the whole city. But yeah, September 7th and 8th. September 7th will be the St. James Hospital in Butte, Montana. The 7th, and then the 8th we do the old Montana prison again. Then Erica and I and Chelsea are going to try to go to Jacob City the following weekend, just to do that place again. We try to do it once a year because it's so entertaining up there.
And we need everybody on the team to experience it.
At least once, for sure. And then October, October's a hard month to book here because a lot of groups have a tendency to book things for October, like really early in January, they'll book October. So we're still looking for something in October, but we do have a couple of ideas. And then in November, like Susie said, we do have the Masonic Temple, and we take Thanksgiving through the end of the year off.
Because it's winter, we get a lot of snow. No one wants to investigate when it's freezing temperatures outside.
Now, if a
house is different down here because in the summertime it's when we get out, and in the wintertime, well, as far as like the paranormal stuff is when we get out, right? But in the wintertime is when I can go out and do the Bigfoot stuff. It's beautiful, nice, cool weather for me. I mean, we barely hit 32 degrees sometimes.
Yeah, unless we get a house case or something during that time where somebody needs help, because we do that too. We'll go help people with their problems. We just did one recently. We're typically not allowed to do video on YouTube of that. They don't want us to. Right. And that's understandable. We have had a couple that have said, oh yeah, sure, put it on YouTube. I don't care. But we do that too. So if they need help, we'll go and assist people as needed.
And how are people finding you guys? I mean, do you guys like market yourselves? Or people just say, I know somebody?
No, we post our full investigations on YouTube. We've been posting shorts and TikToks for, I think, at least over a year now. We have a private Facebook group where it's kind of more close knit, where we'll share ghost memes and things like that with each other, stay in contact with other people, and that's about it.
I'd say sometimes it's word of mouth.
Yeah, it's mostly word of mouth if people hear about it, or we also post our videos to around 300 different YouTube groups. Facebook groups out there. So our video, I share it. It takes me forever, but I share across like 300 groups to like some 5.1 million people worldwide. Yeah. We don't get a lot of views from that, but
we're not in it for that either.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, it would be really great if we could make enough to be able to expand, right? And travel more. I mean, investigating is so expensive. You have the lodging, you have, the travel time, the locations as well. Like they are so expensive. And so it's just a hobby to all of us. Yeah. It would be great if one day we could make it to a point where we can go and do really cool places out east or even Europe. That would be amazing.
Yeah, Adam's asking if you guys post your investigations, and I found them on TikTok. I think you guys were doing a live actually when I first found you guys.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. And then I started going through all y'all stuff, and I said, man, I got to have these guys on my show.
Yeah, which we appreciate.
Yeah. Yes, Adam. All of our videos are posted on YouTube.
Okay. What is your name of your channel?
Broken Wings Paranormal.
Okay. And TikTok?
Same.
Everything's the same.
Okay, cool, man. So you guys go find them. You guys go look them up and, join their groups and share their stuff. And they're great people. They've got some great content. And like I said, I went through all their TikToks. They got some great stuff, man. You'll have a blast of watching their stuff. You guys have anything to say or to add? We got like 5 minutes left. You guys want to add anything or say anything about your group or?
No, we greatly appreciate any opportunity to speak to people about the paranormal, because for us, this is about unity. Mm-hmm. And we co-op a lot with other groups, and not just because places are expensive. It's because the smaller groups or less fortunate groups may not be able to investigate some of the locations that we, go out and do. Like, for example, we host private events for a group here called Northrop Grumman. It's a company that I can't. It's a military company, so I'll just say that. And we do private events for them. We do that basically free. We investigate for free, so they pay for the location, and we take them out and they investigate. We don't make money off of it because, again, we're not in this for the money.
Yeah.
Like you said, though, I mean, sure, it would be nice. We make a couple bucks here and there from YouTube, and that's fine. But yeah, I mean, like our typical investigation in Montana, that's $5,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, you know, between everybody in the group, it's expensive with, like you said, the lodging and the gas and all that. But, you know, that's not what we're here for. You know, we want to help the other groups in Utah. We love to co-op, or, you know, if we come down to Texas and, you know, we would love to co-op with, you know, with you guys, find a location that fit two groups and come down and do something like that. We love
hey, the forest fits everybody. We can go do some bigfooting too, guys. So
yeah.
Oh, which, Steve, you forgot the USS Hornet.
The USS Hornet in October. I was just going to say that. So Chelsea, me, and Susie do have.
Well, you answered that question.
In California, and I missed that question. What did it say?
Yeah, well, I mean, you answered it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he said y'all do stuff with other teams.
Yes, all the time. You know, I would say a good 20% of our investigations are done with either other full groups, or we will invite members from other groups to attend with us.
Okay, cool. Yeah, dude, you guys ever come to Texas, man? You know, we'll find something for you guys to do. There's plenty here to Texas, and you know, we were talking about Louisiana or New Orleans. Galveston is just as crazy, man. Galveston is one of the most haunted places in Texas. San Antonio, of course, is haunted.
I have a question. So, do the spirits out there have an accent?
You know, people have actually captured like German speech, French, Spanish. So yeah, because Texas. You guys are familiar with Six Flags, right? You know, the Six Flags theme park. That's where they get Six Flags from here in Texas. Because we were under Six Flags total from different countries. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually.
Are the ghosts bigger in Texas?
Of course they are bigger and better.
That's one series that I've been wanting to do, is international, in a sense of seeing how different, if like their cultures and how their languages and things like that, what is passed down.
Right.
And the only way to really investigate or figure that out is to travel to all these different places.
True that.
So Walter says, which reminds me, Joe, we need to go to that place. We haven't not been there since we were kicked out since last October. Walter, we were there. We got ran out of the forest. Yeah, we sure did.
By humans?
No, these weren't humans at all. That's it was pretty scary. It was pretty damn scary. That's like the most scared I had ever been. Yeah.
What is that, a video we can watch?
Dude, we were there for like 3 minutes. We got kicked out. They surrounded us. They threw shit at us. Yeah, we were like, nope, they're not playing tonight. Yeah, we heard them walking in the creek. Walter heard them going under this big culvert. I heard them go under the culvert towards Walter. Before I could yell out to Walter, he's like, nope, we got to go. They're under there. So, yeah.
Ooh,
yeah.
That sounds fun, but scary.
Yeah, it's scary. Yeah, you guys are coming to Texas, man. I'll definitely take you out to Walter's area. He actually saw one, and we went and measured the height because there was like a little white spot, which is a fungus on the tree. That's where you saw the head, 9.5 feet tall. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's how I met Walter. Yeah. But yeah.
That's nuts.
But that's a whole other story. But yeah, guys. It was great meeting you guys, talking to you guys. If you guys ever need me to share anything or promote anything, let me know. I mean, I'd be happy to share anything you guys got going on. And like I said, dude, y'all go to Woodline Paranormal, join it on Facebook, and whatever you guys got going on, man, share it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I left a lot more than my soul back there.
I know that feeling of having like, wow, that was incredible, but I almost crapped my pants or something.
Yeah. You know, my buddy Will, who's who's the founder of the JRG, the Jevening Research Group. He's got a saying. He calls it the underwear changing moment.
You get changed in a lot of different ways in those experiences.
Yes, for sure. Well, cool. Everyone else, you guys tune in next Monday. I'll have another show. I don't remember who. I don't have my calendar with me. But I always got somebody. Check in Beyond the Woodline on Spotify, where all my episodes are at, and you'll also find Woodline Encounters on that same page. I had a real good one released Sunday, a guy saw a dog man, the Anubis type. And then tomorrow night, the release is going to be a young lady who worked at a doggy boarding school or whatever you want to call it, doggy daycare, and that was a haunted place. So that she has a really good encounters and experiences there. And I'll be recording with someone else tomorrow night, and she had a Bigfoot experience. She's in Michigan. She got them on her property, so we'll be talking to her tomorrow, and her show will be released next Sunday. So you guys check it out. And there goes my mom telling everybody good night.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
That's my crazy
Have a
mom.
good night.
She has a procedure coming up in a few days. So you guys say a little prayer for her or whatever you guys want.
Yeah,
We will.
So
we can do that.
yeah, you guys hold on real quick, and we will end the show. And like I said, I see the rest of you guys on next Monday.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you.
Hold on real quick, guys.